And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Take a Train. Now, this is a train game, and I know that there's people out there who love train games, and that's all they ever want to play. For me, when I see a train game, I think, another train game, really? But this one is different. This is more of a set collection game where you're going to be doing that, and you're going to be doing that through a series of auctions. You don't like auctions? I don't know how much you're going to like this game, because there's a lot of them. I'll show you. The goal of this game is to get the most money. You can see all this money here. You're going to keep this money behind a shield that tells you how many cards are in the game, gives you some information. Your players are going to start with a certain amount of money, and players are also going to start with 3 of these gold tiles. If you accomplish these gold tiles at any point during the course of the game, then you're going to get that amount of money. So if I ever have 3 trains that are a mechanical type, then I'm going to get an extra $1,500. Some of them are easier to do than others. Some of them are harder. This one here, if I have the slowest train on the board, then I'm going to get $1,000. So when you get these, you just reveal them. You start with 3 of those. There's going to be 3 rounds of the game, and each round there's going to be an auction. There are different tiles here that show what kind of auction it's going to be, and you're going to be auctioning off these train cards. Now, each train card has a speed. That speed is important for some of the goals, but also for who goes first each turn. But and there's also a type of train, which again matters for some of the goals. But the most important thing here is the multiplier, and the multipliers go up to 4 times, from 1 times 1, 2 times 4. Each train also has a minimum price for each auction. So players, and if for some reason players don't win one, you're always going to get 3 trains per auction. You're supposed to. If you don't get one, you get a train that has no multiplier and it's basically worthless and gets you 1 car. If you do that, you're in serious trouble, because it means you completely run out of money. So some of these cards are going to be randomly taken out depending on the number of players, and you're going to be auctioning them off depending on the type of auction. So of the 6 auctions in the game, you'll be using 3 of them. The first is a blind bid. Essentially, you put out 3 trains. Everyone puts out money in their hand. You reveal it. Most money takes a pick of one of their trains. The other 2 are set aside, and then you keep doing that. Then there is another type of blind bidding where you are going to, this one here, where it's very similar to that, but you're going to put out trains equal to the number of players, and whoever bids the most takes the train, then the second most, third most, fourth most, and last. Then there is a double blind bid. The way this one works is you're going to put out 3 trains. Everybody blind bids. They put the amount in front of them. You can see how much that is. And then you blind bid again, adding to that amount. And again, whoever has the most takes 1. The other 2 are set aside. You put 3 more out, and you keep going again until everyone has 3 trains. This one here is the easiest one. This is like open auction. Hey, I bid 16, 17. Well, I'm sorry, these are the wrong numbers. 300, 400, 500. And then you keep going around like that. Then we have, and I'm dropping these auction tokens everywhere. This one here, this is once a round. You just go around a table, and you can pass at any point, but you either say higher than the last person or you pass. Once you pass, you're out of the round bidding for that particular locomotive. And then finally, there is this one, which happens to be my favorite kind. This is a twist where you're going to take 3 cards, and you're going to pick one of them and then pass them, kind of like a drafting. And at the end, you look at your 3 trains that you have. So let's say these are the 3 trains I got. I'm going to pay 400 plus 200 plus 600, so I pay 1,000. Then I pick my biggest multiplier, which is 3. So this would cost me $3,000. And that is how you're going to do the auctions. Once we're done with the auctions, each player is going to place their 3 trains in front of them. And then you're going to put a bunch of cards on the table, and some of these cards are going to be face up. Each of these cards is a train card, and they're going to be worth that much money times the multiplier on your train. And some of them are better than others. For example, a yellow car is going to be worth 50, a brown car is 100, a red car is 250, but this purple one here is worth 400. So when it's your turn, you're going to take one of the train cards and you're going to place it underneath one of your trains. The thing is, once you put a certain card in front of your train, you can only put that same color again. So here's another red. This one's 250. The same color can deviate between different prices, but they're going to be very close. Like you'll never see a brown that's 300. And I can place this here. So if it's my turn and there isn't one to put out, well, then I'm in trouble. Although each player can pay a certain amount of money to wipe the cards that are face up on the table to get new ones. How much money? Well, that depends on turn order. So whoever goes first is going to have to pay 600 to wipe, while whoever goes 6, if you're playing a 6-player game, only has to pay 200 to wipe the cards. Again, players can pass on their turn, but you have to be careful because if everyone passes, the round is over. Or if one train gets 5 cards placed under it of the same color, which is likely going to happen of browns or yellows because there are more of them than any other card in the deck, then the round also will end after everyone has had an equal amount of turns to draw cards. There's also special cards when it's just drawing all the cards in the middle are discarded and you put new ones out. You can take this card and just immediately take $600. You don't get a train card, but hey, $600. This one here is basically the same as the last card. So if I put this one here, it would be another 300 red, putting that one there. This one here adds 1 to the multiplier of your train, so this would be a times 3. And this one here, when it comes up, means players now have to have 6 cards in their train to end the round rather than 5. After the round ends, whatever it does, you will take these, multiply them by your multipliers, take that much money, go to the next round. After the third round, whoever has the most money is the winner. It's interesting to me, the auctions in this game, because if you watch my reviews, I'm not a huge fan of auctions. I don't necessarily dislike auctions straight up, but I want auctions not to be necessarily the focal point of the game. And here they're not necessarily the focal point. This game almost reminds me of a more complex version of For Sale, where the first half of the game, or the first half of each round, you're auctioning to get these cards, and then you're using those cards to get these trains from the middle. And that getting trains from the middle is a little bit of a push your luck aspect to it. I really enjoy how the game gets together, but I will start off with some negative things. I don't think all the auctions are good. I don't like the blind bidding that much because it's kind of a big deal and you're outguessing other people. And I really dislike the double blind bidding, where we blind bid, then reveal. Okay, now let's all do another bid. That one felt a little bit clunky, and since they're random, I can just take that card out and say, we're gonna play with the other 5 auctions and pick some of those. The auctions are good, but I think I play the auctions and I'm like, okay, great. Now let's get down to the meat of the game. Flipping cards and deciding to add it to one of your columns or basically to take a different one. It's this back and forth and players are like, ah. Now, there is another problem with the game, and that is sometimes you just get lucky. You flip the top card, boom, that's the exact one I need. It comes back to you, flip the top card, boom, another one I need it. And Billy Bob is doing really well drawing cards, and Susan is not doing well when she draws cards, and it just, there could be some frustrations in some games, but despite that, I still enjoyed the game. My final ranking for this one is probably like a 6, right? Because I like the idea of the game much more than the game itself, but I still like the game, but there's that occasional flash of bad luck or that occasional auction which kind of just drags out a little bit too long. But even with both those things happening, I don't know what it is. I get a thrill about that flipping the card and then saying, yeah, that's my column. I'm gonna try to collect all the brown trains because even though they give me less money, I got this 4 train multiplier and I'm gonna get a bunch of them if possible. And then no more ever show up in that round or other players get them. And the more players in the mix, the more you're thinking, because you're like, okay, Billy and Sally are both collecting those trains, so if they're both collecting those, why should I try to collect those? It's gonna be just a big mess. I don't know that this game is gonna have exceptionally long legs. I don't think it's gonna get reprinted in America, for example, because it reminds me a lot of modern art with all the different auctions, and it has some cool ideas in it, and it's a lot simpler than I thought it would be. Just basically, hey, we're auctioning for these trains, you get the multipliers, you then take these multipliers and then get the cards for them. And the special cards are good too, but there's that high level of randomness I think is gonna throw off people who wanna take the game more seriously. And the people who don't want to have that who don't mind the randomness, might get put off by how important these auctions might be, and they get beat out by another player. And the secret goals are neat. It almost sounds like I'm giving a negative review here, and I almost am. This game is just barely in my approved column. But even then, you better like auctions to some degree, and you better like a healthy dose of luck. Still, I like the idea, and I would love to see it used in other games.
That's take a train.
Dice Tower judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.